Finally, Arsenal are making moves. Finally, now we get to see Arsenal sit at the table and absolutely now try to get the players that everyone at the Arsenal camp wants. Two huge signings, of course, that are reported to be closer to Arsenal than yesterday. When I recorded the video yesterday, the personal terms agreed. Now we are talking about a contract talk or an actual negotiation to set a price for both players, of course, to actually pay the money and get the players over the line. Hit that like button. If you're here, subscribe to the channel. We're on the way to 40K now. Hit that like button and make sure to subscribe and leave a comment after the video about what I'm about to say. Victor Gyökeres and Rodrygo are closer to Arsenal than before, of course. Arsenal are the team now that are moving in the market, of course. Liverpool have had their signings. Manchester City have had their signings. Of course, Liverpool with the Diego Jota, may he rest in peace, of course, have actually a little bit stopped the negotiations and all the talk about transfers and everything out of respect for Diego Jota. May he rest in peace and God help all his family and loved ones around him. Of course, he may be in a better place than all of us at the current moment. But it is reported now at the current moment that Real Madrid are willing to sell Rodrygo now. They have set a price. We'll talk about it, of course. It is reported that Arsenal are willing to pay 81 million euros. I don't know why 81 million euros specifically, but that is what it was reported from a lot of the journalists in Real Madrid, some people that are close to the Real Madrid camp. But now Real Madrid want about 100. And let me tell you something. 100 million for Rodrygo, who hasn't been playing enough minutes under Xabi Alonso, is actually a fair price. At 23 years old, a lot of experience in big games. He played in a lot of Clásicos. He played in Champions Leagues. He actually won the Champions League with Real Madrid twice, won La Liga, won everything. He is absolutely, that would be cheaper than the Jack Grealish deal, than the Declan Rice deal. Enzo Fernandez, Lukaku, of course. Caicedo, he's gonna be cheaper than a lot of players that have moved clubs in the Premier League and even from outside of the Premier League. So 100 million, even if Arsenal are to go to 100 million, that is 100 million euros. No one is gonna say that Arsenal overpaid for someone like Rodrygo, who adds a lot of things. He's a big game player, proven mentality, absolutely someone that will add a lot to Arsenal. But that is why Arsenal have been slow. They're waiting for his decision. And it looks like, as it is reported now, that Real Madrid now are willing to absolutely sell the player. They want to cash in on the player who is not, as I said, is the first choice of Xabi Alonso. And that is what Arsenal need to do. One of the things that Rodrygo adds to the team is fluidity, as we mentioned before. He can play left, he can play right. He can actually play as a false nine, as he played before, if needed be. But Arsenal are in for a striker. So they're going to have Kai Havertz and they're going to have a Gyökeres, as it is reported. And that is something that you need to think about. If you're a rival now, I want to ask you a question. Do you think Arsenal move ahead of the pack if they sign Rodrygo and Gyökeres along with Zubamendi that they signed? I want an honest answer from everyone. Forget the banter, forget the rivalry. Having a front line of Rodrygo on the left, Victor Gyökeres in the middle, and Saka on the right side. Behind him, there's Declan Rice, Zubamendi, and Odegaard. Do you think that is a team that can actually go on and actually be favorites to win the league? I just, because I keep asking this question to a lot of people and nobody has an answer. Some people say that Arsenal, if they do this, depending on what Liverpool sign, Arsenal will be the favorites to win the title because of how strong defensively they are. Of course, with Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Miles Kelly, Calafiori, Ben White, and now they're adding Mosquera, David Raya in the goal, of course. That is a very, very good lineup for Arsenal. I actually believe, in my opinion, and I'm going to be a little bit harsh on one player here. Apart from Martin Odegaard having not a great season last season, everyone in that team is actually a very, very good player. If I'm actually going to say top notch. In like starting from David Raya, who has been great, going all the way to the striker who is going to be Gyökeres, as it is reported earlier. I think it's yesterday because you might be watching this video sometime after the news have dropped, of course. But is that team good enough? I believe it is good enough. People ask questions about Mikel Arteta and his mentality, and can he lead the team, and can he take the team over the line and finally win a trophy with them, or win the Premier League or something, or some other trophies as well. They are in the Champions League, but I don't think they're going to be favorites to win the Champions League. I think the Premier League is closer to them. I know they reached the semi-final last season, but the Premier League, Arsenal have a team that can win the Premier League if they actually get the striker they want, and they get Rodrygo on the left. They are very dangerous. Of course, as it is reported, as for the Gyökeres news, it is from someone that works for Footy Insider, someone that is apparently credible, is saying that Gyökeres camp now are actually now negotiating with Sporting Lisbon to lower the price and to get the price that they promised, or something close to that. And it is clear favorites now for Arsenal now, that Gyökeres is going to be an Arsenal player. He's going to be the new number 9 for them. And I actually think that the Cisco news have died a little bit lately, and it's all about Victor Gyökeres and his push to move to Arsenal. And if Arsenal can sign Victor Gyökeres for 70 million euros or even 75 million euros, they got themselves a very, very good deal. It is reported a couple of days ago that Victor Gyökeres already agreed the contract talk, 5-year contract with Arsenal. It's going to take him to be a 31 at the end of the contract, which is still, he's going to give Arsenal all his prime years from 26 all the way to 31. That is amazing. The agent of Victor Gyökeres is the one that is pushing for the move for Arsenal. Every day there is talk about the agent disapproving and disagreeing with the president and the valuation and what the president promised him. He insists that the president promised him a move for 60 million, and they don't want that. The guy that scored 43 goals, I repeat, 43 goals, and had 15 assists last season, these are elite numbers. If he actually gets only half of this, and I'm being completely honest, if Victor Gyökeres goes to Arsenal and get 22 goals and 7 assists, I actually think that that is warranted. That warrants about 75 to 80 million euro striker. If Arsenal can get that out of him, just 20 plus goals, I believe they're going to be a danger for everyone in the league. Arsenal view him as the number 9. It looks like Berta is pushing for the move as well. It was reported that Berta prefers Victor Gyökeres and Arteta prefers Cisco. These were the reports. And now at the current moment, if you are actually following the news, Victor Gyökeres is much closer than Cisco to Arsenal, with all the pushing and all the agreements and all the negotiations for the contracts and the deal. Sporting are going to go down in price. They're not going to get the 90 million euros they want. Maybe they'll get 80 million euros, including add-ons, which is still, it's in the 60s in terms of the 60 millions in the pounds, maybe 69 million pounds. And that is not a bad deal for someone with Gyökeres quality. The Arsenal attack might be Odegaard, Saka, Gyökeres, as that provides assists, finishing, physical strength that comes from Victor Gyökeres. He is someone that can play on the transition and also in tight spaces. As I said before, Sporting Lisbon average more than, I think, 60% ball position in the Portuguese league. So he doesn't always have spaces. All the rumors and all the people that say that Victor Gyökeres only score in big spaces, that is not true. He scores in tight spaces as well. This guy is relentless in pressing, so he suits Arteta to the T. He's so strong as well. Rodrygo as well is super, super active. Every time we see him, he's working very hard for his team and his teammates. Of course, he presses so hard, never stops running. He's relentless as well. And now, will Arsenal change a little bit the way they play? If they get Victor Gyökeres, if Victor Gyökeres is a number 9, are they going to move like Man City moved from having a fluid team to actually serving a number 9 like Victor Gyökeres? I believe that Rodrygo is a better player than Jack Grealish. And Jack Grealish was able to win a treble with Man City and actually serve Erling Haaland. I believe that Rodrygo is not only going to provide goals, he's going to provide assists as well. He is someone that is very, very good. But there will be competition. There is going to be Kai Havertz. There is going to be Martinelli, Trossard, and that is so healthy. Of course, we need to remember that Arsenal are in for Eze. Of course, as I have to say, there is one more thing that people don't talk about. It's the financial aspect of Arsenal's transfer window. Signing Zubamendi for about 60 million euros, which is 50 million pounds. Signing Victor Gyökeres, and if they sign Rodrygo and Eze, that will take them above 250, if not 300 million euros. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. So Arteta has to deliver. at that time, and people will not give him any excuses. Anyway, people are not going to give him any excuses. Anyway, you let me know in the comments what you guys think. Make sure to hit that like button. But if if the news are correct and Rodrygo and Gyökeres are very close to Arsenal, as it is reported, and Arsenal are willing to give Real Madrid the 100 million or the 95 million euros they want, that is fantastic news for Arsenal and actually the Premier League itself. If you think this team is good enough, let me know in the comment section. If you don't think that Arsenal win the league, also let me know in the comment section. Hit that like button, guys, if you guys are still here. Subscribe to the channel, of course, if you are new, and I will see you guys on a new video.